Welcome to Caleb Can't Read. I'm Jordan Rabel.
And I'm Caleb Terrence.
You know, I tried to prove to you, because you said it in the last episode, that I suck at drinking.
You do.
So you know what I did?
You do suck
I
at
showed
drinking.
up, and I did a fantastic job, and I threw up in front of God and everybody out on the street.
Wait, that happened after the last episode?
Yeah.
And and in front of the hot bouncer, too.
Yeah. No, so what happened was I got nicotine poisoning. I thought that I could upper deck a sixth sin, and I can't. And so I was like, you know what, Caleb, you go to the bathroom. I'm going to wait for you outside. And then as soon as he walks out, I just go, bah!
Yeah, dude, you really suck.
I barely had anything, but it's not like the
Oh,
bar knew
God
that
damn.
either.
And
They
then
thought
you
that we probably jumped from bar to bar, and we got there at the end of the
Yeah,
night.
dude, you're throwing
Yeah,
up in
it
front of the
sucked.
bar. Look, dude, I had a shot with that bouncer.
No, afterwards? Really?
No, I mean, I had a shot.
Oh, I thought that you were getting shots with her, and I was like, oh,
No.
good for you.
No.
Because you didn't have a shot at all, actually, and I'm glad that I was able to get you
Any
away from
slim chance that was there, Jordan, was gone when you started vomiting. I want you to know that.
that. Yeah, Caleb, you have a 1 in 6 chance of winning Russian roulette, but do you really win?
But you throwing up was putting a bullet in every one of the compartments. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what are you talking about, man?
You're
Like, that's not what I
I like moved my head over as I'm throwing up in the street, and I see you just have this look of like,
It's like,
and,
God,
and I just like I
God
like
damn
take
it,
off my
like-
glasses and I put a finger like one moment.
and then you broke the plate.
Oh fuck! Okay, look that
Oh my God, you're too fat to walk through a hallway now?
look. Your sister has a very crowded little space.
It's not. You're a
does.
big ass dude.
No,
Like, no, okay, so
no.
Jordan walked through a hallway and somehow knocked a cherished plate down and destroyed it. And like, I know, like, and you swear to God, like, you didn't even feel anything. Like, it just happened.
No, yeah.
I know the fat people, like, developing their own orbit thing is very overused, but I don't see another
you. You know what?
explanation here as to how it just magically fucking came off the wall when you weren't even drunk.
Look,
Like-
you can't just get drunk and break things and blame it on white people all over again. All right, look, you've been
That's-
doing this for so long.
That's,
You know?
you did that. I just heard a crash and then I heard you go, what? It just leapt at you?
Did you consider that maybe your sister's home has ghosts?
No, Jordan.
Well, I did, and I fucking standing by it.
I mean, you have the complexion of Casper, but
Fuck you. God damn it.
but your body's much more Michelin, man.
Well, speaking of...
No, I'm not done. I'm just kidding. Now I'm done.
Speaking of insult to injury, let's get started, shall we?
Fuck you. Hey, man, what's up with the, like, when you go through on Spotify to look at our shit, why does it say send us a text before every
I have no
description?
idea.
What is that?
And I tried to get rid of that.
What is that?
I don't know.
You don't send us a text.
Don't send us a text. I don't even think it would do anything.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck
I don't
that
know
is.
why it's saying that.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I tried fixing that, and I have no idea.
It's strange. We don't know what it is. It's
don't know.
weird. But
Well, what's funny is it's just like, send us a text. Pedophilia, rape. You know? It's put right before the trigger warnings, and it's just like, shit.
I didn't even think about that, dude.
We're in a very specific
Why is
play.
Okay, wait a minute. Define you worked on it, you tried to fix it. Did you just did you Google it even?
No, I went through Buzzsprout, and it seemed like it would be going through there, but maybe it's through Spotify itself. I don't know.
Man,
I'm not done investigating it, but I tried for a good 10 minutes before I went.
Good 10.
Fuck it."
Okay, that's a good.
Yeah,
that's a
I
good-
went like,
That's a good push.
Yeah.
All right, so I did actually listen to the last
Oh,
one.
good. Well, I'm still gonna go over
Like
it,
a
though.
little bit.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. That's
Okay.
I'm thankful.
Right.
In our last episode, we went over the lineage and early life of our hero, Lord Byron. From his grandfather, Foul-Weather Jack, to his father, Mad Jack Byron, to even his uncle, the Devil Byron. It's really no wonder why our very own George Gordon Byron might be so fucked up. He was born with a clubfoot and an overbearing rage, which if he didn't get it from his old man, for sure he got it from his mother, Catherine. But that didn't stop our good old Lordy B from getting all the ladies at school. And even a few cousins. Maybe a few boys as
Wasn't
well.
it mostly cousins, actually?
Yeah. At this point, it is like, there's maybe one unrelated girl.
It's I'm gonna say the same thing that I do to people when they're dating coworkers. Be like, you realize that the people that aren't this are literally everyone else in the world,
Yeah,
right?
right?
Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that aren't your cousins.
Look,
man.
I get the work thing because it's like you're already like sort of breaking the ice on like a first date scenario. You know them, you know. No, I see why people do it, but do not dip your pen in the company ink. This is not good for anybody. You're not gonna want to tell HR. You 100% have to tell HR.
Oh, calm down. Okay, you've clearly thought a lot about this.
No.
But let's talk about Lord Byron fucking his cousins, because that's why we're here right now, Jordan. You okay?
Hey, look,
doing okay?
no,
Huh?
Nobody's nerfect. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, in 1806, at the age of 21, Lord Byron released his first book of poetry, Fugitive Pieces. And although it was only meant for a handful of friends, specifically because it dealt so heavily with the people he'd fucked, again, namely his cousins, it wasn't long before the book came into the hands of the local reverend, who convinced Lord Byron to seize the copies and burn the whole pile. But due to the warm response he got from friends, Lord Byron decided to release a non-sexual version of his poetry instead. Everyone hated it, and when he tried attacking his critics, they hated him even more. Regardless, Lord Byron decided it was
like, no,
time.
the this being smut was the best part of this.
It really was. Well, he decided it was time to take a vacation. And as an uncovered document from 2010 suggests, probably with the added bonus of shirking responsibilities from a newborn he had with a maid that history has seemed to have kind of forgotten. So here we begin, with the 21-year-old Lord Byron and his 23-year-old friend John Hobhouse on their way to the European continent. Also during this little pilgrimage, alongside Lord Byron and John Hobhouse, would be Byron's 34-year-old servant William Fletcher, who I want you to imagine will be right alongside Lord Byron for literally the rest of his life. And Fletcher will be the butt of Lord Byron's amusement and abuse the entire time. Just, yes, very good, sir, very good. Like, it's that kind of shit.
Oh,
They're
weird.
just belting him, and he goes, okay, yes, sir, yes, yes.
This 34-year-old man.
Yeah, being beaten up by children.
You're doing fine.
From what I could
I
tell,
mean, we got to put the bar pretty low to say that, but you're doing all right, man.
from what I could tell, Fletcher had actually been around the Byron family for like the last 5 years, but was now being treated as Lord Byron property exclusively. Now, while people like Mary and Percy Shelley would later take a grand tour through active war zones in Europe while they were in the midst of a fucking Napoleonic war, Lord Byron was smart enough to know how terrible of an idea that actually was, instead opting for the Mediterranean. But in all actuality, going on a grand tour was an excuse for Lord Byron to try and dodge creditors. Yes, just like his father before him, Lord Byron had been racking up a considerable amount of debt in his recent years. However, there's a couple other reasons why Byron may have chosen the Mediterranean coastline specifically. One is that there was a rumor that an old love interest of his from school may have been vacationing there. He just figured he'd catch up with her somewhere on the entire fucking hundreds of miles of coastline.
Oh, man. Well, it's crazy to run into you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Check it out. I have a servant.
You want to throw rocks at him?
What?
But another reason was that Lord Byron had become absolutely infatuated with the idea of Islam. You see, the religion was fairly new to the English and was gaining mainstream attention amongst both artists and explorers. Lord Byron saw himself as both. In fact, during his grand tour, Byron would make his way to Portugal, then Spain, then Malta, Albania, Greece, and Turkey. But while he was in Albania, Byron and his friend Hobhouse were able to meet up with the country's ruler, Ali Pasha. The experience was recorded in a poem Byron would work on for the next several years before releasing it under the title Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. In this work, Byron would give Ali Pasha a very romantic air, saying the Albanian people were a joyous and free people living under a brave and honorable leader. But in reality, after Byron had met Ali Pasha, he wrote a letter to his mother stating, quote, "His Highness is a remorseless tyrant, guilty of the most horrible cruelties, very brave, so good a general that they call him the Mohammedan Bonaparte. But as barbarous as he is successful, roasting rebels, etc., etc. How the fuck are you gonna et cetera, after saying he's roasting rebels? Those are details we need to know.
I mean, yeah, that's stuff you do. You
just gotta cook it, dude.
You gotta cook it, dude. Sometimes. Set an example.
Well, either way, after Byron and Hobhouse had finished with Albania and made their way through Greece, Byron wrote a poem called Maid of Athens, Ere We Part. Maid of Athens, ere we part, give, oh give me back my heart, or since that has left my breast, keep it now and take the rest. Hear my vow before I go, and then some Greek that I would assume rhymes with the word go. But it's in a Grecian alphabet. I don't know. But when translated means, my life, I love you. Now, here's the thing.
God, that was corny.
I don't like him. Now, here's the thing. This poem in particular was written for a Grecian girl by the name of Teresa Macri. We know this. When Byron wrote to his friend, he said he was, quote, dying for the love of 3 Greek girls of Athens. Now, who was he referring to? Was Teresa and her 2 sisters, Mariana and Katinka. Now, I couldn't find out how old Mariana and Katinka were, but they're believed to have been at least under the age of 15. Oh. We know Teresa's age, however, 12.
Oh, dear. Oh, that's pretty fucking bad. Yeah.
Remember, episode 1 was the apology episode. Maybe why he's this way, kinda.
Oh, dude, is he just straight up like a diddler?
I think so. Oh, well, when he finally made it back home, Lord Byron would find a renewed vigor to continue his epic poem, Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, accounting for all the things he did and saw while on the
Childe Harold.
Well, if he sees him, he might touch him. All the things he did and saw while on the Mediterranean through the eyes of a child named, guess, Harold. Though it was, of course, partly fictionalized. From most accounts, Lord Byron's experiences while on his grand tour could be summed up by him just learning how to say curse words in foreign languages. Same, you know? No matter what, history doesn't change all that much. I get it.
Oh, man, this is... how much more diddling's he gonna do?
Yeah.
Man.
But almost as soon as Byron returned, tragedy would strike. His mother, Catherine Gordon, died at the age of 41 on August 1st, 1811. She had been staying at Newstead Abbey while Byron was away, and her last moments were basically spent alone. Although they'd fought on numerous occasions, Catherine's death gave Lord Byron a longing sense of regret. He lived in the abbey for a short time after her death, but ultimately looked to sell the place instead. A man named Thomas Clofton agreed to buy the place for £140,000, which is over 12.7 million US dollars today. However, Thomas Clofton would only end up forking over the initial down payment of $5,000 and nothing else. But Byron, assuming he was about to get a much bigger sum of money, spent a shitload on credit. So it's a year later, in 1812, that Lord Byron decides he's going to publish the story he'd been working on for the last 3 years, Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. Through the urging of his friends, Lord Byron would publish chapters 1 and 2 with famous Scottish publisher John Murray, who would pay around £20,000 to Byron for the rights to his story, a little over 1.5 million today.
Do you take it?
Yeah, and John Murray, by the way, he may sound familiar to you. Although John Murray I would only get his publishing business started before his death, his son, John Murray II, would be the one to start the publishing house's fame over stories like Childe Harold's Pilgrimage and Jane Austen's Emma. His son, John Murray III, would even helm the task of publishing Darwin's On the Origin of Species and Herman Melville's first 2 books. The family's still around, by the way, and still publishing. We're up to John Murray number 7 right now. That has to be a lot of fucking pressure, though. Like, you know what you're going to have to do. Like, you get named the John Murray. It's like, I wanted to be an actor, but I guess I'm going to be fucking publishing books for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but, like, at least you get just something.
Yeah.
Like, how hard could that fucking be?
Well, there's a lot of children of nepotism that always do that, where they're like, no, father, I'm going to do my own thing. Like, Phil Knight's son.
Who the fuck's Phil Knight?
He's the guy who invented Nike.
Oh.
Yeah, they have the campus out in Beaverton and everything. Mm-hmm. Well, his son wanted to be an animator, so he bought Leica. And now they don't really do anything, and it's all because his untrained son wanted to be an animator.
I see.
Yeah. Shit like that.
But yeah, no, it's not.
Kind of ruins it for everyone. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for these people. And like,
no, I don't feel bad for them. It's just like, God damn it.
Like, a lot of pressure. You know, it was really a lot of pressure having to find something to do. Mm-hmm. That would make me money. That was a lot of fucking pressure.
Yeah, no. John Murray the First, thank God for him. I mean, the rest of his kids are fucking coasting. You know? Well, when John Murray II published the first half of Childe Harold's Pilgrimage in a limited run of 500 copies on March 3rd, 1812, the poem was sold out in just 3 days. According to Byron, I awoke one morning and found myself famous. The poem was a huge deal. It instantly became copied by lesser poets and was even set to music by none other than fucking Beethoven. Over the course of the next 6 years, Byron would release 2 more chapters to his poem, along with several changes, including, in the 7th edition, a dedication piece in the beginning called To Ianthe. Quote, Young Peri of the West, 'tis well for me. My years already doubly number thine. My loveless eye unmoved may gaze on thee, and safely view thy ripening beauties shine. Happy, I ne'er shall see them in decline. Happier that while all younger hearts shall bleed, mine shall escape the doom thine eyes assign. To those whose admiration shall succeed, but mixed with pangs to love's even loveliest hours decreed. Caleb, Creed. That's what you got.
I was just like, yeah,
the Creed.
I didn't like it till then.
Caleb, I want you to remember that line though. My years already doubly number thine.
He's a diddler.
Now, from the time Poems on Various Occasions is first published in 1807 to his runaway success with Childe Harold's Pilgrimage in 1812, Lord Byron is attending the Trinity College in Cambridge. And of course, he is soaking up all the attention he can. Most of his college career can be summed up by him partying up with friends. One time, he and a few others dressed like monks and drank from skulls while girls acted like servants.
How did they... All right.
You know what? Maybe don't ask those kind of questions. How did they manage to find skulls?
How did they get
don't worry about it.
Where the skulls from? Where did they find women that were down?
Down with that? He's famous.
Weird.
Yeah.
You can drink from skulls served to you by women?
Yeah.
If you're famous?
You've never done this?
I'm not famous.
Fucking idiot. And like a true diva, when he learned he wasn't able to keep his dog on campus because it was against the rules, he brought in a fucking bear, saying there were no rules against them.
Yeah, because we didn't have to say that, dumbass.
I know.
Like,
it's like he saw Air Bud and he got very very inspired. He just
don't say nothing about a dog
playing basketball. Yeah, he's shitting on the court, dude. You can't do that for sure. Yeah, no idea what happened to that bear. It could have just been his servant Fletcher in a bear suit. Who knows? Now, in between all this National Lampoon bullshit, for about 5 months in 1812, Lord Byron started an affair with a woman named Lady Caroline, who was 26 while Byron was 23, and was currently married to who would become the future Prime Minister, William Lamb. However...
Ooh, that's...
yes, he likes to do this shit dangerously, you know?
That's spicy.
It is. However...
That's forbidden puss.
It is. Yeah, don't get political puss. You shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. However, Lady Caroline was largely spurned by her husband's family, even referred to them as the little beast. I can't say for sure why they called her that, but given how she's going to act in the next couple pages, I wouldn't say I blame them. So when Lady Caroline met the charming Lord Byron in March of 1812, it was a pretty instantaneous attraction. Lady Caroline even supposedly wrote to a friend soon after meeting Byron, telling her that he was, quote, mad, bad, and dangerous to know.
Ew, dude.
Yes.
Stop making those noises, man.
However, when Lady Caroline moved to Ireland with her husband, Byron was pretty quick to forget her. He was like, all right, well, she moved away, so done deal. However...
It's like, oh, out of my eyesight. What was I doing? Shit.
However, Lady Caroline continued to pester Byron through numerous letters, and he stupidly led her on by responding each time.
Yeah, he's leaving a paper trail?
Yeah, like, with an address and everything.
Holy shit. Like, you don't even have a digital footprint, but you're still just incriminating yourself.
Why do you draw a fucking map on the back?
You drew a picture of your dick? and sent it to her.
I traced it.
Put the paper on and do the pencil run. Back and forth.
How else am I supposed to get the veins on there? Yet while he was promising sweet nothings to her, Byron would satisfy his physical urges with another royal, the 40-year-old Jane Harley, Countess of Oxford. But in reality, it would seem that Byron's attractions were more focused on Jane Harley's daughter, Lady Charlotte, whom Byron would give the codename Ianthe and later dedicate Childe Harold's pilgrimage to. You remember that line, "My years already doubly number thine"?
Yeah.
Caleb, she was 11.
Oh, that's... Whoa. I mean, okay, that's... Imagine having pull.
I don't want to imagine any of this scenario.
No, just it's that's the fucking crazy thing about this is like clearly the man has pull.
Mm-hmm. He still chooses this. Like, I don't know.
And like, what is... Like, I mean, not that that's ever okay.
No.
But it's even more like, what the fuck?
I don't know if you remember at all, but in the last episode, we talked about the fact that he may have gotten diddled by a dude. And, like, it seems to always be this cycle of violence kind of thing. And it's like, not all the time, but sometimes it is. And it's like, maybe there's evidence towards that because of this. It keeps happening. Like, he doesn't need to do this. You're right. Like, it's just... It can't be a power move because
no one needs to do it, but
no, but I mean, like, it's a power move for who? Like, he's already got power over women who are older than him, you know, like, and he's in college. He's going out specifically to prey. It's creepy.
It's super fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
honestly, I don't think Lady Charlotte reciprocated his feelings. Never once wrote about Lord Byron from what I could find, and frankly, I don't think she wanted to remember him. But from all these one-night stands and potential victims of Lord Byron was Anne Isabella Milbank, 11th Baroness Wentworth. She was born May 17th, 1792. Her cousin, William Lamb, is the husband to Lady Caroline, the crazy lady that keeps sending Lord Byron letters from a country away. Nothing will come of that connection. I just found it interesting. Anyway, Anne would grow up tutored by a Cambridge professor, herself becoming a master in literature, philosophy, and science. But her being a royal to some degree meant that both her and Lord Byron were sure to come across each other at one point or another. In fact, Anne's mother had warned her that there was a guy going around by the name of Lord Byron, that he'd become recently famous through the success of his poem Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, and that he was known to fuck. Anne responded by telling her mother that she wasn't going to go out of her way to introduce herself.
Oh, he fucks?
But
he fucks.
But yeah, you know, if he happened to talk to her, she wasn't going to say no, you know? Well, for the next several months, Anne Milbank watched Lord Byron from a distance at several parties, just witnessing him get into worse and worse confrontations with her cousin's wife, Lady Caroline, before she finally moved away. In October of 1812, Lord Byron writes a letter to Anne proposing marriage and has it delivered by Lady Caroline's fucking mom. So Anne, who's very bright and pretty much the complete opposite of Lord Byron, decides to sit and write down a list of all of his attributes. It wasn't a very long list. Took no more than 3 days for her to send a letter back to him telling him to get fucked. But throughout all the parties they'd attend, they would still exchange glances from across the room. And whenever her mom brings him up, Anne seems to defend him, telling her that Byron's actually a very complicated man.
How old is Anne?
At this point, he's about 21, I think. She's like the same age.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Her exact words to her mother, in fact, were, "He is a very bad, very good man."
What?
You know, like, he's complicated, Mom. You just don't know him. So what if he rides a motorcycle and wears a leather jacket? Mom, I love him.
And asked me to marry him immediately.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, dude, calm down. Like,
now, the thing is, Anne Milbank was very religious, and she soon saw it as her mission, God's mission, for her to change Lord Byron's evil ways.
But you could just say you're horny.
Fucking hook, line, and sinker. He's got her. Oh, if anyone could change my tortured past, but maybe they can make me a less tortured future.
Is he still all club footy?
Uh-huh.
So the brace, the crank didn't work.
Look, he's hot. Yeah, cranking it didn't work.
Just, like, just twisting it until...
Doesn't mean I'm not going to stop trying every night. So, by the next year, in 1813, guess who moves back to London? Lady Caroline, the one that wouldn't stop bothering him over letter. Well, Byron did what he could to show that their relationship would not resume. He started at first by telling her privately, hey, don't speak too loud, and maybe, we could talk about this later. But this shit, it ain't gonna work out. Well, each time that didn't work, Byron got a little louder, hoping that maybe she'd get the hint when he would say, like, outright in front of guests, hey, lady, leave me the fuck alone. Yet still, nothing would get her to stop. But during a ball that was to honor the service of the Duke of Wellington on July 1st, 1813, Lord Byron decided he'd had enough. We don't know what he said exactly, but it was apparently pretty public and pretty fucking offensive. Lady Caroline responded by breaking a wine glass and slitting her wrists.
Whoa!
Can you imagine?
I was expecting you to say, like, breaking a wine glass over his head or something, not...
Can you imagine,
like, at the party?
Yeah. During a party. Yeah, and it's like, this is a dude's retirement party. He's had a long, illustrious career. It's supposed to be about him. And he's just like...
Fucking great. At the party.
Yep.
Man, it's I don't really know if he's in the wrong in this particular instance, to be completely honest. Like, she was, like, low-key kind of stalking.
Well, yeah. Well, and you know what's kind of funny about this, too, is
unless he, like, invited her there and then did that.
I don't think that there's anything that he said that has not been said in, like, a Netflix comedy special. But in the day, apparently it was bad enough that no one repeated it in their journals. We don't know what the fuck he said because people were like, so what did he say? And they were like, I dare not repeat it. But it's like, it probably wasn't, like, yeah, it was probably rude as shit. And honestly, if she went straight to that, probably a little truthful. And that's why it hurts so bad. So she just decided to take her own life, I guess. That's pretty bad, though.
Yeah, it's
pretty bad. Well,
this woman's been obsessing about him and popping up everywhere. And
yeah, no, here's the thing, though.
Remember when that happened to me?
That you were popping up everywhere?
No. That one chick that was, like, following me and, like, going, like, every bar I would go to, she would pop up at. And...
Yeah, it was funny because I got, like, 5 different friend requests over Facebook at that time where it was just her wearing a different mustache each time, just trying to see what you were up to.
That was pretty wild. It didn't end with her killing herself. But I many times in a bar had to be like, will you please fuck off?
Yeah, no, this is the same situation. Man, you're the Lord Byron of our day, but less of a diddler. Less of a diddler.
Don't say that. What the fuck
I
is
said
wrong?
Less of one.
You was like less than 20 minutes. Fuck you. Less than... No. I don't like that at all. Anyway, what I was going to say was that did not end in that woman killing herself. It ended in her popping up out of my bushes one day when I came home and then trying to come up and passionately kiss me as I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then she was like, I'm cutting you out of my life. And I was like, okay.
This doesn't feel like you are.
I was like, what?
I feel like I need to start carrying pepper spray, actually.
It's like, how do I play this so she actually does that?
Yeah, dude. Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I'm really scared and confused right now. Okay. Like,
Block. Now, granted, no one that was present at this party apparently really believed that Lady Caroline meant to do any real harm. Byron even told his friend, quote, Lady Caroline performed the dagger scene from Macbeth, which tells us that he didn't believe her heart was really in it either. However, news very quickly spread about the incident, and anyone that wasn't there questioned Lady Caroline's sanity. And to be fair...
So she didn't die, she just...
No.
Oh.
She gave herself some owies. It was just like, it's hard to say symbolic when you draw blood, but like everyone that was just like, why'd you do that? It took a quick second of going like, and then like grabbing your wrist and being like, dude, it's
Lady,
it's like when my dog scratches me. Nobody looks at it and thinks self-harm. It seems like that was kind of the case. It was like cat scratches. I don't know. But to be fair, Lady Caroline was fucking cracked. She once tried to gain entry to Lord Byron's home by dressing up as a paperboy.
fucking Bugs Bunny shit this fucking woman is pulling.
I'm selling me papers, I am. Lady Caroline, get the fuck out. And when that didn't
Why would
work,
a paper boy have a mustache? This disguise doesn't even make sense.
when that didn't work, she ran inside, grabbed a book, opened it up, and wrote, "Remember me," and threw it back. That's terrifying. But rather than be terrified of this lady, which, by the way, she was experimenting with opium at this point, Lord Byron wrote a hate poem called Remember Thee, Remember Thee. Quote, remember thee, till Lethe quenched life's burning stream. Remorse and shame shall cling to thee and haunt thee like a feverish dream. Remember thee. I doubt it not. Thy husband too shall think of thee. By neither shalt thou be forgot. Thou false to him, thou fiend to me.
The fucking, I don't know what any of that meant. Like,
basically, like, dude, you have a husband. Like, we both don't like you at this point. Can you just stop?
Like, you're making everyone very upset.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, you're upset, I'm upset, your husband's upset, stop it.
And even after this poem made fun of Lady Caroline's sanity, she would later pretend to be Lord Byron in a letter requesting a painted portrait of himself to be delivered from his home to her address, and it worked. So, you know, it's kind of like stealing a pair of underpants, except it's an actual huge painting that that took a lot of methodical planning.
Are you, like, not allowed to get divorced in this time period or something?
I don't think you are.
Okay, that would explain why she still has a husband.
No, you can get divorced. You can get divorced, because we are going to cover that eventually
Why
as
does
well.
she still have a husband?
I don't know. Because he's rich and she's not, maybe. Same reason Lord Byron seems to pick his, like, ladies.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay.
Could be. I don't know. But it was after this whole display at the Duke of Wellington's ball that Anne Milbank decides she's going to do it. She's going to change Lord Byron's wicked ways. She's the one that he proposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, clearly not. No. And so against the wishes of absolutely everyone involved, she started a correspondence with him. And their relationship would steadily grow over the next year. By 1814, Lord Byron realizes that he still hadn't seen a cent more from Thomas Clofton than the initial $5,000 down payment he was given for Newstead Abbey. And I mean, motherfucker was really hurting to pay off his debts at this point. He was being hounded by creditors day and night. But when Byron complained to Thomas Clofton, the guy said, "Fine, since you're going to be a little bitch about it, I retract the $5,000 I already gave you and we don't have a deal anymore," which apparently you can do. And because of this, Lord Byron was an additional $5,000 in the hole.
Oh, shit.
What a dick move. I would do that all the time, though.
Sounds like somebody's going to call up Carolyn.
So Lord Byron has essentially just come out with one book of poetry. I'll wait for you to be done. I'm cutting this out.
Then I have more freedom. Feels so good.
You realize, to me, you are the Lady Caroline, right?
I resent that. I would never take anything you said seriously enough to harm myself.
Even hurt more than anything else.
Like, not even performatively would I do that.
Damn.
Like, what? You started it. You said I was like an obsessive stalker. I'm sorry, fucking green light after that point. Fucking fire back with whatever I want. You also called me a diddler earlier, motherfucker. Like, I'm not going to get after you after that. Fuck you. Fuck out of here.
All right, well. So Lord Byron has essentially just come out with one book of poetry and an epic poem called Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, right? Well, in the span of 1812 to 1816, while he's finishing school at Trinity College, he comes out with a plethora of work. Critics were waiting to see if this guy was just a one-hit wonder, but he proved he was more than that with his next poem, The Giaour. A giaour, as Lord Byron discovered during his trip to Turkey, is a slur for non-Muslims, basically like an infidel. He discovered this term at the same time that he learned that there was a custom of stuffing adulterous women into a sack and drowning them in a river. Like newborn kittens.
That's how it's described?
No, that's just how I was able to think about it.
Why?
Look, man.
Does that help you think about it?
No, because I'm just saying, having your summers on a farm hits different.
All right, man. This is that's not for Caleb Can't Read. That's for your therapist. Right now, we
don't talk about the summers on the farm.
Like, I'm your homie, but I'm not equipped to unpack this with you, man. I'm sorry. Jesus.
I'm just saying that's what you do with barn cats.
I don't want you to talk to me about the kittens. I don't want to hear about it.
I don't know if Lord Byron actually watched this whole thing happen, but it sounded to me that he'd at least talked with someone who had at least one ex-wife under the belt, if you know what I mean. Well, anyway, the story of the Giaour is that of 3 different narrators, while the revolving incident being that of a woman who falls in love with an outsider and is killed by her master. The outsider then kills the master and joins a monastery. The story being told from 3 different narrators, however, leads to 3 different perspectives on whether the outsider was right to do so, based on each narrator's religion and beliefs. It's the movie Rashomon, if you've ever seen that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Film, not a movie.
The film.
A film. Yes.
I don't watch movies, I watch films.
Anyway, the story was massively popular and led to 10,000 copies being sold on the first day of its publication alone. Most likely from bookstores buying it in bulk, but still. The popularity led to Byron expanding the story several times over the next couple years, with its final version being literally double the size of the original. But the rumors abounded from those who knew Byron about who the love interest in the Giaour could possibly be inspired by. And there were 2 leading theories at the time. One was that she was based on a woman named Lady Frances, wife to Lord Byron's friend James Webster. However, where most people might be a little upset at this, the marriage between Lady Frances and James Webster was largely thought to have been a marriage of convenience. Basically, they did it for money or to secure some deal. And because of this, whenever James threw a big party, Byron would be there to try and fuck his wife. And honestly, that's the kind of party guest you want.
Damn it, dude, get the... Stop.
And honestly, it didn't seem like Lady Frances actually gave 2 shits about Byron, and she thought her husband's insistence that she fuck him was a little weird. Like, I don't know if the guy was a libertine or something, but it sounded like he would get pushy about her fucking his friends.
Like, no, I don't want to fuck the club foot,
I told them you were cool.
God. Dude.
Yeah. Anyway, while I don't think Lord Byron and Lady Frances ever fucked, it didn't stop the rumors from spreading that they had, something I have no doubt Lord Byron spread himself. And Byron would very much write her into characters in his later poetry. As for the other rumored inspiration for the love interest in the Giaour, that would be Byron's own half-sister from his father's first marriage, Augusta. Now, while there is very little evidence that they did indeed bone, there is evidence nonetheless. Rightfully, neither Byron nor Augusta would write about the act outside of one instance in 1814, where Byron wrote to a friend saying that he was afraid his sister's baby might be his. Quote,
Bro.
"It is not an ape, and if it is, that must be my fault. However, I will positively reform. Beyond that, no definitive proof. But I will say, their letters are very sexually charged. So even though we can't say with 100% certainty, man, we're pretty sure they fucked."
That is so fucking gross, dude.
It is so weird. Even during cousin fucking times, it's like...
That's a step.
Like, even during their own time, the rumors of incest were very prevalent, too. Like, everyone knew. Honestly, he probably bragged about that and thinking it wasn't going to overstep the line before people went like, "Oh, man, yeah, did you fuck a cousin?" Yes, I fucked a cousin. I fucked 2 cousins. Oh, whoa, dude, he's the coolest guy. And my sister. Oh, what? You don't like that?
Something's wrong with you chemically. You should see somebody about that.
I don't even know if we have psychologists in this day, but, like, you should see somebody.
I don't know if that's a job, but it should be. Somebody should deal with this.
But one last thing I found interesting about Byron's poem, The Giaour, is that besides a novel that came out just a few years before in 1810 by John Stagg, this poem has the first mention of vampires. Quote, "But first on earth as vampire sent, thy corse shall from its tomb be rent, then ghastly haunt thy native place, and suck the blood of all thy race." Before Lord Byron mentioned vampires in the Giaour, they were largely known only to people in Eastern Europe and Russia.
I'm trying to get my race sucked out.
So anyway, Byron's Tale of the Middle East saw huge success, leading him to write 2 more stories based in the region, The Bride of Abydos in 1813 and The Corsair a year later. Although Byron admits he wrote The Bride of Abydos for money, saying it was for the sake of employment, it's still highly regarded today. What's interesting is that the story is about a brother and sister that fall in love, and when people pointed out that it was a little weird, Byron blamed the ignorance of the British people.
You guys just aren't open about this kind of thing.
In September of 1814, 26-year-old Lord Byron decides to propose to the 22-year-old Anne Milbank for a second time, and this time, she accepts. They marry on January 2nd, 1815, where Anne Milbank would forever be known as Lady Byron. And very quickly, Lady Byron finds out that the Lord Byron not only has a spending habit, but he's a fucking idiot when it comes to conducting business as well. Now, you remember how I told you that thousands of copies of Byron's poems were being sold, right? Well, Lord Byron thought getting anything more than the down payment for your work was just plain ungentlemanly. Like, he thought getting royalties was stupid. So oftentimes, he'd straight up give away the rights to his work to friends.
Sucks with his money, dude.
So they could make money doing nothing instead of him.
Isn't he in debt?
Yeah. He needs this.
He sucks.
He's an idiot. One example of this.
Somebody married him?
Yeah. Well, I guess she didn't know
He's
beforehand.
a club-footed sister fucking dude in debt.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, ask around.
Who writes about 11-year-olds?
Yeah. Ask around, dude.
I can't fucking come up with a... Give me 10 minutes to come up with a motherfucker less appealing than that. I don't know if I could.
It's like every time I listen to like a podcast about true crime, about like serial killers and shit, and it's just like, this dude was living in a trailer with an extendable garage that he said you can't go into, and you still married him. Like, why? What goes through your fucking head? And it's people like this. Lady Caroline would 100% be married to the toy box killer today. Like...
Like, there's not red flags. Those are crimes. Like, it's, you know, like, it's, like, we as a society, like, we document this when it happens. It's not just
dude's not a violent criminal, but he is a criminal, and it's like, he is still committing bad crimes. Like, this is not good, dude.
Dude.
But I can change him. That was literally what she told her mom, actually, was just, I can change him, Mom. And she very quickly found out, I can't change this dude. What if
you found one you didn't have to change?
Your dating pool would be very small.
Hey,
so,
hey. That's fucked up. I've never tried to change anyone. I know better.
No, I meant for them to be into you. So anyway, one example of this is with a Jewish composer named Isaac Nathan. For the last year, he'd been working on these musical compositions called Hebrew melodies that are supposedly tunes from as far back as biblical times. They weren't, but that's what he told people they were.
Okay.
So to help sell his book of music, he asks around for someone to help him write the lyrics, even talking with Sir Walter Scott at one point, the author of Ivanhoe, before eventually reaching a deal with Byron. But when Byron finished his portion of the project, he gave Isaac Nathan all copyrights, even topping off the deal with an extra $50. No idea why. But according to Byron, the reason he took up the project in the first place was because he saw in the Jewish population much the same difficulties as that of another people he admired. Quote, "The Greeks have as small a chance of redemption from the Turks as the Jews have from mankind in general." When Hebrew Melodies was released in late 1815, there was now a new rumor to attack Lord Byron. Maybe he was Jewish.
If this is actually what gets him shit after everything he's been doing, that's fucked up, dude.
According to one critic, Lord Byron may now be considered as poet laureate to the synagogue.
So this is an issue.
Yeah.
You know what these people deserve? These people deserve everything that this man's going to do to them.
They deserve that plague. But the book still sold very well, and besides the whole Jewish thing, people were very into it, particularly with the first poem of the book called She Walks in Beauty. Quote, "She walks in beauty, like the night, of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light, which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace, which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place, and on that cheek and over that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days and goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent." This poem is not about Byron's wife, but about Anne Wilmot Horton, his cousin's wife. Same age as him, by the way. She's not 11 this time. So at least he's got that going for him.
Cool, man.
I feel like I need to mention it.
Yeah. But, yeah, this guy sucks. I don't...
Yeah. By the July of 1815, the 27-year-old Lord Byron was once again looking to get rid of Newstead Abbey. It was finally sold, with all the money there this time, to an old school friend named Thomas Wildman for less than £95,000. Remember, when he originally sold Newstead Abbey, it was for around $140,000. But with Byron so down on his luck and even deeper in debt, he just said fuck it and sold the abbey for less than $100,000. And while Newstead would no longer be an ancestral home to the Byrons, Thomas Wildman actually gave a fuck about the property and spent over £100,000 to preserve it. Today, the abbey is a museum for Lord Byron, full of memorabilia which Thomas himself first collected. So Lady Byron becomes pregnant soon after their marriage, but the tensions between the lady and Lord only grow in their first year together. Turns out, Anne wasn't doing a very good job at turning Lord Byron into a new man. He'd become a part of the board of directors at Drury Lane Theatre, where he was having numerous affairs, one of which was with this actress named Charlotte Marden, who was known for her performances on such classics as The Jew and the Doctor. Y'all remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
So much so, we don't need to go into it.
I don't want to do that one.
No, I'll be the doctor. Do you want to take the other lines?
Is this like a racist joke? What are we...
Yep. She was apparently only ever hired because she had a pretty face. But after every performance, the critics would be like, Charlotte Marden has a very beautiful face, but she doesn't close her fucking mouth when she just stands there. Like, you could see her mouthing the other actors' lines. Though stupidly, when Lord Byron started an affair with Charlotte Marden, he didn't think to just rent a room or fuck this lady behind closed doors at work. No, he brought Charlotte home, and Lady Byron caught them in the act herself. Charlotte was married too, by the way, but Charlotte's husband was a lot less in the picture than Lady Byron was. Charlotte's husband had actually faked his own death and had his brother send Charlotte a letter asking for money to cover the cost of his funeral. But then a week later, her husband showed up drunk to her door asking for more money. I love him.
Hey, so...
Guess who's alive?
Guess who's alive and needs money?
Guess who's alive? Second question. Guess who needs money?
It's me. It's both of them.
By the end of 1815, Lord Byron was a fucking mess. He'd gotten lost in drink, and his silent little rages he'd have as a kid weren't so silent anymore. He was becoming just like his mother. Soon, with no one else to turn to, Lady Byron would send a message along to Augusta, his sister, asking for help. But when Augusta got there, she realized there was nothing she could do. Byron had gone mad from his life falling apart, and Lady Byron truly believed her husband was going insane. But on December 10th, 1815, Augusta Ada Byron was born. That's right, named his kid after his sister, though everyone would call her by her middle name Ada instead.
Good.
Gee, I wonder why.
Because he fucked his sister.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude,
hard to remember that.
It's just like fucking. It's like why? Like
maybe he was into himself, and he was just like, I see a bit of myself in you. You want to see a little bit more of me in you?
that's not what I'm wondering about. If you fuck your sister, you're unfixable. Don't marry him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the rumors had to have been prevalent. She had to have known that.
She had to have seen it and been like, yeah, that's...
He showed me the tapes.
No, or just like seen them interact and been like, that is the most disturbing chemistry I've ever seen in my entire life.
That wasn't a sister-brother kiss. That was a brother-sister kiss. You know what I'm
Brother-sister
saying? Brother-sister kiss. You know what I mean?
That's the dirtiest fucking thing you said to me in recent memory. Brother-sister kiss. Whoa.
Those lips were not chapped. But whereas other people would be thrilled to welcome their firstborn into the world, Lord Byron was really bummed out that the kid turned out to be a girl. Instead, wanted nothing to do with her. In just a month's time, right after their first anniversary, Lord Byron asked that his wife and child move to her parents' place for a time while he tries to settle some old debts. To the Lady Byron, this was the last straw. She truly thought this was the behavior of an insane man and not just an irresponsible asshole. So she called up the local doctor under some sort of false pretense, though I'm not sure what. Just, hey, can I order a pepperoni pizza?
What time period is this?
1815.
Yeah, they're going to commit her.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how that works, lady. Like,
damn, and you didn't do what he said?
Woo. So you took the kid and you moved in with your mom, right? Nope. How are you? I'm going to ask you a couple questions. How are you?
Like maybe she told Byron that she was calling up the doctor for the baby or something. But either way, the doctor does come to observe Byron. And by the end of his visit, after listening to Byron rant and pace about, he's like, yeah, I think maybe you and the kid should leave the house like he says. But she didn't. For the next 2 weeks, Lady Byron took detailed notes of her husband's behavior, even sending a friend of his medical pamphlets so he could try and guess what the fuck was wrong with him. But by January 16th, 1816, just a week shy of Lord Byron's 28th birthday, Lady Byron said fuck it and decided to move to her parents' place just as he'd requested. Neither she nor their daughter Ada would ever see Lord Byron again. Now, although she was pissed at him, the Lady Byron wasn't ready to see her husband as a lost cause just yet. She sent him letters that were very heartfelt, just wishing him the best, hoping he'd get better. But instead, her parents, on the other hand, said, fuck this guy, and sent Lord Byron a deed of separation instead. You see, a divorce goes against their religion, Caleb, but you can get the same result if you just call it something different so God won't be mad.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Checks out.
There are so many things in the church that are like this. So Anne's parents send this letter out to Byron, but his sister Augusta is still there watching over him. So she finds the deed of separation first and decides to keep it, fearing that Lord Byron would commit suicide if he knew. Eventually, Augusta sends the letter back, telling Lady Byron and her parents about her worries. And they say, we don't give a fuck. And they send the deed of separation right back.
Hey, man, so, yeah, the point of that was that he wouldn't be our fucking problem anymore. So, yeah.
No, but you don't understand. No, we get it. That's the whole point
The
of
thing
this.
I don't understand is why you're telling me this right now.
Hang on, maybe she needs us to underline a lot of this section of the so she knows how to read it properly. Let's
send it back, but bigger physically.
Can we get a singing telegram? Is that a thing? And you don't get to keep the dog. Da, 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 da. Well, this time, Byron gets the letter, and he was actually in disbelief that Anne would ever want to separate from him. He also figured
you already made her move out. What are you fucking talking? What?
What?
Whoa.
He also figured this was all her parents doing, which maybe at first it was, but Anne wrote back a letter herself saying, listen, you have been fucking other women. I'm pretty sure you fuck other boys. I'm damn sure you fuck your own sister, and we've had anal. All of those things are illegal. So,
I don't like anal.
So if you don't want to sign the goddamn papers, I know plenty of people that'll be interested in your other little exploits. And with that, they were formally separated in March of 1816.
Okay, so that is confirmation they fucked his sister.
Yeah. I mean, she's saying that I know that you've done this. And it's like, but she has no evidence. It's so much of this shit is with these like old timey authors where it's like, there's no definitive proof.
That's pretty definitive.
It's like, yeah, it's like, what do you want? Somebody to etch a drawing while you're doing it? Like,
she blackmailed him with it so that he would fucking sign divorce papers. That's pretty, like, if it didn't happen, I don't think he would have been like, oh shit, I should sign that. Like, that's...
Yeah. It's kind of like all that Michael Jackson hush money where it's like, no, it's not hush money. I just don't want them to be rude to me. Right? Yeah. Don't talk about it in court. Oh, that'd be so uncool.
No, don't talk about it in court, no.
Yeah, it'd be so weird if you did. Oh. And I know there's like this incel stigma surrounding divorces today where they're always like, you know, the kids always go to the mother, which isn't true. But back then, children would almost always go to their fathers in cases of separation. All they had to do was ask. But Lord Byron never bothered. Pretty clear that he didn't give a shit about his kid, though he did often ask his sister Augusta to keep tabs on his old family. It wasn't long before rumors began circulating that the reason Lord Byron left his wife was so that he could be with his own sister. That's really got to be in the dumps, you know? Getting divorced, not seeing your kids again, and everyone's like, yeah, is it because you fuck your sister? What? No.
No? Then take your penis out of your sister.
No. I don't think you understand the situation here. You see, she is stuck in the dryer. Well, it had been just a month after the separation.
No, I'm not. Dude, I'm watching you do it right now. Everyone knows. Stop doing it.
Christ.
You know what? Tell her to move in with her mom. Okay? Like, that's the move. Like, that...
Well, it had been just a month after the separation that creditors finally caught up to Lord Byron. In a panic, he sold his entire book collection and with what little money it gave him, decided to leave England for good in April of 1816. With the news of Lord Byron's departure creating a buzz around town, Lady Caroline, the one Lord Byron spurned at a party so she tried cutting her wrists in front of all those nice people, she released a book called Glenarvan just a month later. The book is about a young lady named Calantha, whose life is ruined through her disastrous relationship with Lord Glenarvan. Sound familiar? Yeah. Well, the book was fucking awful. It seems that she was more interested in bashing Lord Byron than she was in writing a good story, which, if she'd written it well, very well could have led to the public's perception of Lord Byron turning. Instead, the story just came off the page like a horrible list of things she hated about him. And although she published the novel anonymously, it wasn't hard to figure out who wrote it, and Lady Caroline was receiving hate mail by the very next day. If she was already an outcast in the echelons of higher society, she was now downright exiled from it.
Did she kill herself for real this time?
No. But people love a good train wreck, so
Did she kill herself for pretend again?
No, Glenarvan actually sold well, because it was kind of like The Room, and everyone was like, I gotta get this one. You gotta check it out. Yeah, and so she was like, looking at the paycheck, like,
it's fucking bullshit.
Unfortunately,
you're a star, baby.
Unfortunately, whereas it was only the upper class that knew about Lady Caroline's exploits before, her sanity was now called into question by a much larger audience. In the aftermath of all of this, her cousin went to visit her to cheer her up, only to leave and later write to her sister stating, "I mean my visits to be annual." However, in the larger scheme of things, Glenarvan became the first use of what would later be called the Byronic hero. A Byronic hero is a main character that's gloomy and distressed over the state of the world. Basically, your typical hot guy played by Ryan Gosling. And I will say, while most people seem to see Lady Caroline's book for the trash that it is, Johann Goethe, the writer of Faust, thought it was basically the first Finnegan's Wake of its kind. Like, no, it can't be this terrible. It must have a deeper meaning. When Lord Byron read the book, he said, quote, "I read Glenarvan too by Caroline Lamb. God damn."
God damn! just
that is the best blurb to put on a book. God damn!
That's pretty good.
Damn, I pissed her off, dude. She is mad.
Damn, lady. Like...
I do love that. So when the 28-year-old Lord Byron left England, he brought with him his personal physician, the 20-year-old John Polidori. And I'm not really sure if he actually brought his manservant, William Fletcher, along with him for this one. But when the publisher, John Murray...
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He was there in the woods while the doctor's there, just like, I think you guys should leave. And he's just in the corner like, sometimes he makes me pretend to be his sister. Hey, is anyone going to listen to me? Please help.
Look, man, you took the job, okay? Just...
I'm paying you £5 a week, dude. Just shut your fucking mouth, all right? So, when the publisher, John Murray, got wind of Byron's departure from England, he cornered Dr. Polidori, giving him £500 in advance for a diary of what they would be up to while he was away. You see, Byron's sudden departure from the country quickly got around, and people were not only buying up Byron's works quicker than ever, but they were gossiping more about him too, partly because of the release of Lady Caroline's book, Glenarvan. So John Murray figured that if he managed to get some juicy story out of what the old fuckboy was up to, he could possibly make a fucking mint. Well, by the summer, Lord Byron and Polidori had made it through Belgium and to Lake Geneva in Switzerland. There, Byron had rented a large house that was actually called the Villa Belle-Rive, but because the family that owned it were called the Diodatis, and because Byron refused to call the mansion anything else, it would more famously and forever be known as the Villa Diodati. However, when Lord Byron arrived to the house, he found it already occupied by the 23-year-old Percy Shelley, his 18-year-old mistress Mary, their 4-month-old William, and Mary's 18-year-old half-sister, Claire Claremont. Is this ringing a bell at all?
No.
A little bit. It's gotta. Come on.
I mean, like, mildly?
All right, I'm willing to accept it.
Jordan, it's been literal years.
I know.
Okay, like, you got it. Like, I know, I remember names, kind of. Like,
yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. To say
it's the Frankenstein lady?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And her emo husband, yeah.
Yeah.
To say it was a shock to see these kids breaking into his house was fair, but it was a little scarier than that to Lord Byron, as he knew Claire Claremont and was hoping he'd never see her again. You see, back in March, around the time his deed of separation between himself and his wife went through, he was still on the board of directors at their Drury Lane Theater, and Claire was just a sparkly-eyed kid looking for fame. She wrote to Byron constantly, and it's clear through her letters that she was definitely looking to hook up with him, probably for an acting spot. Claire even arranged a room at an inn where they could meet, and Byron, still deeply depressed over his own decision to leave his family, was like, "Look, I'll fuck you, but we are not together." Byron wrote in a letter, quote, "I never loved her nor pretended to love her, but a man is a man, and if a girl of 18 comes prancing to you at all hours of the night, there is but one way."
No.
No, there's not.
No.
Of course.
Prancing's a red flag.
You know who prances?
Yeah, like, whoa.
You know who prances? Children. Weirdo.
Yeah, I don't...
Yeah. Well, of course, when Byron saw Claire at the Villa Diodati...
You know what? I agree with you. There is only one way.
It's to close the fucking door,
and
dude.
You didn't do that.
Of course, when Byron saw Claire at the Villa Diodati, he knew what was up. She was already a couple months pregnant, and fully planned to use this to trap Lord Byron into a lasting relationship. Now, we've gone over the summer of 1816 with these kids before, more in depth with our episodes on Mary Shelley, and to a lesser extent on our episodes on Percy, but we're going to do the same thing here. I'll just tell you the parts relevant to Lord Byron's story in particular, but if you want a more in-depth look into how these kids spent their time in the Villa Diodati, you can refer back to episode 29 of this podcast. So anyway, it would turn out that the Shelleys had actually rented their own place on Lake Geneva, just a short walk away from the villa, but Lord Byron allowed the kids to stay with him and Dr. Polidori instead, under the condition that there would always be someone in the room if it was left to just himself and Claire. Like, he did not trust this woman and did not want to be left alone with her. As he wrote in a letter to his sister, quote, "What could I do? A foolish girl, in spite of all I could say or do, would come after me, or rather went before me, for I found her here. I could not exactly play the stoic with a woman who had scrambled 800 miles to unphilosophize me.
Bro, you're making it worse.
She's not the fucking predator.
Bro, stop flexing, man. This is the weirdest flex.
Yeah, and it's weird that you're flexing it to your sister, too, who's probably getting very jealous.
Yeah, I don't know. I just... dude, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Stop doing this. I don't want to hear any more about this shit. Like,
Byron figured with their arrival in June that Claire and her friends would be gone within a few weeks. They would be stuck there till August. As we mentioned before in previous episodes, the summer of 1816 was called the Little Ice Age due to a volcano in Indonesia erupting and covering the entire world in a gloom that lasted all year. And due to the shitty weather, the kids were kept indoors, where Byron would read from a collection of German ghost stories each night called the Phantasmagoriana. This led to everyone participating in a contest to write a ghost story of their own, while hopped up on massive amounts of opium. While Mary Shelley at first couldn't come up with anything, it would seem the nights of ghost stories on top of her long conversations with Dr. Polidori about galvanism led to her creating a story so terrifying that both Percy and Lord Byron gave up on the spot. That story, of course, would be none other than Frankenstein. But Dr. Polidori would find the story Lord Byron abandoned, like, hey, this is pretty good. Can I work on this if you don't want to? And Byron agreed. The tale was a return to Byron's fascination with a bit of folklore he'd worked with before, the vampire. But this story, and its complications, wouldn't be published for another few years, so we'll actually return to that next episode. Now, what's funny is that...
Did he do Dracula?
No. But he was the inspiration for Dracula.
That was Ham Stroker, right?
That was Ham Stroker. Yeah.
Ham Stroker.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. That's a good one. Shit. Now, what's funny is that while Lord Byron figured he had run away from all the gossip that was whirling about him in England, it wasn't long before word had gotten out that he was vacationing at the Villa Diodati in Switzerland. And when the hotel on the other side of Lake Geneva found out that he was staying there, they rented out telescopes to guests so that they could spy on him. Once, when servants at the Villa Diodati hung up bed sheets to dry, the hotel told people they were ladies' petticoats, and they sold out of telescopes by the end of the day. It's always been this way, dude. This is just paparazzi bullshit. This is
fucking weird.
It's so weird. Let him do his thing.
Oh, it's a weird clubfoot dude. I'm not sure what I expected. Like,
I want to see him fuck it.
What?
What? What? No, what did you say? No, focusing on the end of their summer together, Claire Claremont would fail having Lord Byron accept his fate as a father. She probably wasn't aware that Lady Byron had tried doing the same thing literally earlier that year. But the person who did grow closer with Lord Byron during their vacation was Percy Shelley. In case you missed our episodes on that guy, he was also an old money piece of shit that liked to mistreat women and had a penchant to overspend. So yeah, he and Lord Byron got along fucking great. If there were any outings outside of the Villa Diodati, it was with these two gallivanting around the lake. No girls allowed. And for both these guys, their friendship was an eye-opening experience, as both poets would go on to create some of their most well-known works. For Lord Byron in particular, he'd produce a collection called The Prisoner of Childe and Other Poems. And while the title poem is in itself a classic, the more troubling poem is called Darkness. It is, of course, a long one, but what's important is that it ends with this stanza, quote, "Seasonless, herbless, treeless, manless, lifeless, a lump of death, a chaos of hard clay. The rivers, lakes, and ocean all stood still, and nothing stirred within their silent depths. Ships sailorless lay rotting on the sea, and their masts fell down piecemeal as they dropped. They slept on the abyss without a surge. The waves were dead. The tides were in their grave. The moon, their mistress, had expired before. The winds were withered in the stagnant air, and the clouds perished. Darkness had no need of aid from them. She was the universe." While critics initially saw this as a last man on earth kind of poem, there's actually no characters in the entire thing. It was about the world without humans at all. And yes, Lord Byron was writing this in the midst of what was called the year without a summer, but the dude just got divorced too. He was diving headfirst
The only good one he wrote.
Honestly, yeah, I agree.
Like,
he was diving headfirst into a long, long depression, and he was only going to dig himself further into trouble with women, creditors, and possibly even the mafia.
there's a mafia?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
My sources today.
There were Italians back then?
Gross. The Poetry of Lord Byron by Lord Byron, Arcturus Publishing Limited, 2020. To Ianth from Childe Harold's Pilgrimage by Lord Byron, Gutenberg.org, February 2004. Lady Caroline Lamb's Scandalous Affair with Lord Byron by Lori Ann, Loriann.com, April 11th, 2023. Rabid by Bill Wasick and Monica Murphy, Viking Penguin, 2012. LordByron.org and Wikipedia. I mean, overall, I think... I don't know. He's not the worst. He's not the worst guy that we have covered.
Did we... Yeah, that's a low...
I mean, right. I would
Low,
say
low bar.
excluding the neo-Nazi as well as fucking... the Marquis de Sade.
The king diddler, the prime diddler, the
king of
foremost
crime.
rapist.
Yeah, the worst dude to have ever lived. Besides those two, it's still just like...
He's pretty bad.
He's pretty bad, though. Like, he is still a fucking pedo.
Wait, okay,
Like,
did he actually diddle? Or did he just have, like, a diddle thirst?
It's about as hard to say as saying that he fucked his own sister.
Okay, well, that's
We
easy.
have no evidence.
Oh,
But it's weird that he dedicated shit to an 11-year-old. It's weird that he wrote about thirsting after 3 girls that were under 15, and one of them we know for sure was 12. Like, and not only that, but he's going through places that are not only quite poor countries today, he was going through places that were poor back then, too. You throw him a fucking piece of, like, copper or something, and they're like, oh, yeah, you want children? Right this way. Like, you know.
You've thought about this a lot, Jordan.
No, I have not. How much
I don't know.
does it
You
cut?
seem
No,
like you
no,
had
we're not
quite
going to
a-
make that joke. We're not making that joke. Fuck you.
Oh, it's already done, Jordan.
Fuck yourself.
God damn.
Fuck you.